Steam hissed through ancient pipes as Sarah Chen made her morning rounds through the SS Archimedes engine room. Her footsteps echoed off metal gratings, accompanied by the rhythmic chugging of the massive steam engine that powered humanity's last mechanical starship. While the rest of Earth's fleet glided silently through space on quantum drives, the Archimedes thundered along like a Victorian locomotive among sleek magnetic trains. "Good morning, old friend," Sarah whispered, running her hand along a brass pressure gauge. The needle quivered steadily in the green zone, just as it had for the past 15 years under her care. The ship had been scheduled for decommissioning 3 times, saved only by her passionate arguments for its historical value and her willingness to maintain it single-handedly. Most of her colleagues thought she was crazy. Why dedicate your life to maintaining obsolete technology when quantum engineering offered unlimited possibilities? But Sarah understood something they didn't: the elegant simplicity of steam power, the beauty of mechanical systems you could touch, adjust, and truly understand down to their fundamental principles. The ship's intercom crackled to life, interrupting her reverie. "Chief Engineer Chen, please report to the bridge." Captain Rodriguez's voice carried an unusual edge of tension. Sarah found the bridge crew clustered around the main viewport, staring at the strange scene outside. The quantum fleet's pride, the QS Einstein, was drifting in space, its usual quantum field shimmer notably absent. 3 other state-of-the-art ships floated nearby in similar condition. "They're dead in space," Rodriguez explained, his weathered face creased with concern. "No power, no communications, nothing. Started about an hour ago. Space traffic control is going crazy. They're getting reports of quantum drive failures across the entire system." "Any pattern to the failures?" Sarah asked, her engineer's mind already analyzing the problem. "Yes, but it doesn't make sense," Lieutenant Park chimed in from the sensor station. "The more advanced the technology, the more completely it fails. Simple electronics are spotty, but mechanical systems are completely unaffected." Sarah's pulse quickened. "The Archimedes is the only ship in the sector still fully operational," Rodriguez finished. "We're getting emergency requests from Fleet Command. They need us to investigate the source of whatever's causing this." Sarah felt the weight of history shifting. The Archimedes, the ship everyone had dismissed as a relic, was now humanity's best hope. But could a steam-powered vessel handle whatever was causing advanced technology to fail? "Sir," Park called out, his voice tense, "I'm picking up something strange at the edge of the solar system. Some kind of energy signature unlike anything in our database. Can you get a fix on it?" "That's the weird part. Our digital sensors can barely detect it, but the old analog instruments—" He gestured to the mechanical gauges Sarah had insisted on maintaining. "They're showing clear readings. Whatever it is, it's massive, and it's affecting space itself." Rodriguez turned to Sarah. "Chief, can the Archimedes handle this mission? Be honest, we'd be going in blind, possibly facing something that can disable any advanced technology we throw at it." Sarah smiled, patting the brass handrail beside her. "Captain, this ship was built when engineers had to understand every bolt and gear they used. We don't just operate the Archimedes, we know her soul. If something out there is stripping away quantum technology, maybe what we need isn't a more advanced ship. Maybe we need one that runs on steam, sweat, and simple physics." The captain nodded slowly. "Then let's show them what obsolete technology can do. Sound general quarters. All hands prepare for emergency deployment. Chief Engineer Chen, get your engine room ready for extended operations." As Sarah hurried back to her domain, she felt a fierce pride in her ship and its proven technology. The quantum age had made space travel easy, perhaps too easy. People had forgotten that humanity's greatest achievements came not from using advanced technology, but from truly understanding the principles behind it. Now, as chaos spread across the solar system, it was time for the SS Archimedes to prove that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. Sarah's fingers flew across the manual controls, bringing the massive steam engine up to full power. Above her head, pipes groaned and whistled, pressure gauges climbed, and the heart of the ship beat stronger. They were about to remind the universe that human ingenuity wasn't about having the most advanced technology. It was about understanding and adapting what you had. The last steamship in space was about to write its name in history. The SS Archimedes shuddered as its steam engine pushed it through space, leaving behind the cluster of disabled quantum ships. Sarah monitored the engine room's brass gauges with growing concern. Something was affecting their instruments, not disabling them like the quantum technology, but making them show readings that defied conventional physics. Engineering to bridge, she called through the speaking tube, another obsolete system that was now proving invaluable. Captain, we're seeing some strange behavior in the boiler system. Steam pressure is fluctuating, but not in any way that makes sense. Explain, Rodriguez's voice echoed back. The laws of thermodynamics seem to be shifting. It's subtle, but growing stronger as we move toward the anomaly. If we were running quantum drives, we'd already be dead in space. But our steam engine is adapting. It's inefficient, but it's still working. Lieutenant Park's voice cut in through the tube. Chief, I'm getting similar readings. Local spacetime is being warped, but our analog instruments are somehow compensating. The quantum ship's computers couldn't handle the contradictory data, but our mechanical systems just flex with the changes. Sarah moved through the engine room, making manual adjustments to compensate for the shifting physics. Her mind raced with possibilities. The steam engine wasn't fighting the anomaly. It was flowing with it, like a tree bending in the wind while rigid structures shattered. A new voice crackled over the emergency radio, one of the few electronic systems still functioning. This is Dr. Elena Rossi from Lunar Observatory. We've been studying the anomaly. It's not natural. We're detecting patterns that suggest artificial origin, but it's like nothing humanity has encountered. Sarah's hands froze on a pressure valve. Doctor, are you saying something out there is deliberately changing the laws of physics? Yes, and there's more. We've detected objects moving near the anomaly. Ships, we think, but they're not human vessels. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and it happened just when most of their technology was useless. But why? Were the aliens hostile, or was this some kind of test? The ship lurched suddenly, steam howling through the pipes. Sarah scrambled to adjust the pressure before something burst. Bridge. What was that? Gravitational wave, Park reported. Massive distortion in local spacetime. But Chief, you need to see this. The mechanical chronometer in the backup navigation system. Well, just look. Sarah rushed to the bridge, where the ancient chronometer sat ticking away. Her eyes widened as she watched the brass hands move. Forward, backward, sometimes both at once. Time itself is becoming unstable, Rossi's voice explained over the radio. The closer you get to the anomaly, the worse it will become. You have to turn back. Captain Rodriguez looked at Sarah. Chief. Sarah studied the chronometer, her engineer's mind racing. The quantum ship's computers tried to calculate exact positions in spacetime that no longer had fixed values. They crashed because they couldn't handle the uncertainty. But our mechanical systems, they average out the fluctuations naturally. We're not fighting the impossible calculations, we're writing them. Can we continue? Sarah nodded slowly. The steam engine is basically a heat differential system. As long as hot and cold still mean something, we can generate power. It won't be pretty, but we can keep going. We have to. Whatever's causing this, it's growing stronger. If we don't find a way to stop it, Earth's infrastructure will collapse. Rodriguez finished. Every quantum computer, every advanced power system, all of it will fail. We'll be thrown back centuries technologically. Maybe that's not entirely bad. Sarah mused, watching the chronometer's strange dance. We've become so dependent on quantum technology that we've forgotten how to solve problems without it. But the principles haven't changed. Heat, pressure, motion. The basic forces that built human civilization. Maybe that's what we need right now. Not better computers, but better understanding. The radio crackled again. Multiple objects approaching your position, Rossi warned. Definitely alien vessels. They're watching you. The bridge crew crowded around the windows, straining to see the alien ships. When they appeared, they seemed to twist reality around them, their forms impossible to focus on directly. They're not just watching, Sarah realized. They're studying our response, seeing how we handle the breakdown of physics as we know it. This isn't an attack, it's a test. Rodriguez straightened his uniform. Then let's show them what humanity can do with nothing but steam, steel, and determination. All hands to stations. Chief, get back to the engine room. If we're going to face whatever's waiting for us out there, we'll need every ounce of power your obsolete engine can generate. Sarah hurried back to her domain, mind already working on ways to modify the steam system for what lay ahead. The aliens might have mastered quantum physics, might even be able to bend reality itself. But they were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their advanced technology. It was their ability to understand, adapt, and overcome with whatever tools they had at hand. The Archimedes engine thundered louder, steam pressure rising, as they pressed deeper into the unknown. They were about to discover exactly what happened when unstoppable human ingenuity met supposedly immovable laws of physics. The alien ships danced around the Archimedes like curious predators, their impossible geometries making Sarah's eyes water whenever she tried to focus on them through the engine room's porthole. Steam filled the chamber as she wrestled with the increasingly erratic behavior of her beloved engine. Boiler temperature rising beyond normal parameters, she announced through the speaking tube. But normal doesn't mean much anymore. The laws of thermodynamics are becoming more like suggestions. Can you stabilize it? Rodriguez asked, his voice tight with concern. Sarah watched as water boiled and froze simultaneously in one of the pressure gauges. I'm trying something unconventional. These physics fluctuations, they're creating energy differentials we can use. It's like surfing waves of reality itself. She had rigged up a network of mechanical feedback systems, using the ship's old brass regulators in ways their Victorian inventors never imagined. When local physics went strange, the system automatically adjusted, channeling the chaos into useful work. Chief, Park's voice came urgently through the tube. The aliens are transmitting something. Not radio. It's, well, you should hear this. A sound filled the ship, transmitted through the hull itself. It wasn't language exactly, but Sarah felt meaning forming in her mind. Primitive vessels must not approach. Reality naxus is not for lesser beings. They're trying to scare us off, Rodriguez responded. But we can't turn back. Earth's systems are failing faster than predicted. Major cities are going dark as quantum power grids collapse. Sarah felt the deck plates vibrate beneath her feet, not from the engine, but from something outside. The aliens were doing something to space itself. Emergency klaxons blared as reality distortions intensified. Multiple breaches forming. Park reported. The hull metal is changing properties, becoming both solid and liquid. Seal off affected sections, Rodriguez ordered. Chief, we need options. Sarah's mind raced. The aliens were manipulating fundamental forces, but they clearly expected that to disable any ship it touched. They hadn't counted on humanity's tendency to build redundancy into redundancy. Captain, remember how old submarines had multiple hulls? We've got something similar. The outer hull might be compromised, but the inner pressure vessel, the one containing the steam system, it's pure mechanical strength. No quantum reinforcement, no smart materials, just good old-fashioned steel and rivets. How does that help us? The aliens are changing the properties of matter, but they have to maintain consistency or risk destroying themselves too. They're working with quantum states, superposition, entanglement. But our inner hull, It's too simple to exist in multiple states. It's forcing local space to pick a single reality. Through the viewport, Sarah watched an alien vessel approach. Its surface rippled like liquid mercury, but where it came close to the Archimedes' inner hull, it was forced to take on a more definite form. They're not just testing us, she realized. They're afraid of us. Their mastery of quantum physics made them forget the fundamental forces that make the universe work. But we remember. Every engineer who's ever built a bridge, every mechanic who's fixed a car, we understand the basic rules. The alien ships pressed closer, reality distortions intensifying. Warning gauges screamed as space itself tried to tear the Archimedes apart. But in the heart of the ship, Sarah's steam engine continued its steady beat, each stroke a defiant reminder that some principles couldn't be broken. "Bridge, I'm going to try something crazy," Sarah announced. "Their quantum manipulation is creating energy gradients, massive ones. If I modify our steam release valves, we can tap into that energy, use their own reality distortions to power our engine." "Do it," Rodriguez ordered without hesitation. Sarah's hands flew over the controls, adjusting valves and regulators. The engine's rhythm changed, synchronizing with the pulses of distorted spacetime around them. Steam pressure rose beyond any safe limit, but she had faith in Victorian over-engineering. The alien transmission came again, but this time it carried a note of confusion. "Primitive system, adapting. Impossible. Reality, matrix, cannot be processed by mechanical means." "Watch us," Sarah muttered, making one final adjustment. The Archimedes surged forward, its modified steam engine now drawing power from the very forces meant to destroy it. Simple mechanical principles, amplified by alien physics, drove them deeper into the anomaly. The alien ships fell back, their transmitted thoughts radiating surprise, and Sarah could have sworn a hint of respect. They had expected humanity's primitive technology to fail in the face of their reality-warping powers. Instead, they found that the very simplicity of steam power made it more adaptable than their advanced quantum systems. As they pressed on toward the heart of the anomaly, Sarah felt a fierce pride in her ship and in humanity's engineering heritage. They might not be able to bend reality, but they understood its basic rules better than beings who had forgotten that advanced technology was built on simple foundations. The next challenge lay ahead, the reality nexus itself. Whatever was causing the breakdown of physics, they would face it not with quantum computers or advanced AI, but with steam, steel, and human ingenuity. Sometimes, Sarah reflected, the most powerful force in the universe wasn't the ability to break the rules. It was knowing them so well that you could work with them instead of against them. The reality nexus loomed before the Archimedes, a swirling mass of distorted spacetime that defied description. Through the bridge viewport, it appeared as a constantly shifting pattern of geometric impossibilities, like a four-dimensional kaleidoscope trying to exist in three-dimensional space. Sarah stood at her engineering station, every gauge and dial telling a different story about the laws of physics. Heat flowed backwards, pressure existed in multiple states simultaneously, and time itself seemed to hiccup with each turn of the engine's mighty pistons. "Final report from Earth," Park announced grimly. 90% of quantum infrastructure has failed. We have hours at most before civilization, as we know it, collapses. The alien ships maintain their distance now, their transmitted thoughts a mixture of warning and fascination. "Primitive vessel DFIES PROBABILITY. Approach QNAXUS forbidden. Reality protocols exceed mechanical comprehension." Rodriguez turned to Sarah. "Chief, what are we actually looking at here?" Sarah studied the readings from their mechanical sensors, which were providing clearer data than any quantum scanner could manage. "It's like a knot in reality. Something is actively rewriting the laws of physics, but not consistently. That's why quantum technology fails. It relies on precise mathematical relationships that no longer hold true." "And our steam engine?" Still works because it doesn't care about quantum precision. It just needs a difference: hot and cold, high pressure and low pressure. Even when the laws of physics get weird, differences still exist. We can work with that. The ship shuddered as another reality wave washed over them. Sarah watched in fascination as rivulets of condensation ran up the walls, defying gravity before freezing in midair. But how do we stop it? Rodriguez pressed. We can survive here, maybe even move around, but that doesn't solve Earth's problem. Sarah's mind raced through everything she knew about thermodynamics, about the fundamental forces that govern the universe. The aliens understood quantum mechanics at a level humanity couldn't approach, but they treated physics like a programming language, something to be manipulated and rewritten. "Captain," she said slowly, an idea forming. "What if we're thinking about this wrong? The aliens see this as a technology problem, but it's not. It's an engineering problem." "Explain." "They're trying to rewrite reality, but reality doesn't want to be rewritten. That's why everything's so unstable. But what if instead of fighting the instability, we channel it, like a steam engine channels heat into mechanical work?" Sarah moved to the main control panel, her fingers dancing over brass levers and steel wheels. "The Nexus is creating massive energy differentials. Quantum technology tries to calculate and compensate for each variation. But our steam engine, it naturally seeks equilibrium. It's not just surviving the physics distortions, it's trying to stabilize them." The alien transmission came again, more urgent now. "Primitive REAZO DDTTED. Reality MATREX KNOTB reduced to thermal principles." "Watch us," Sarah muttered. She opened a channel to engineering. "All hands, prepare for maximum power. We're going to turn this whole ship into one giant pressure relief valve." The plan was audacious, perhaps insane. They would use the Archimedes steam system, not just to power the ship, but to act as a reality stabilizer. Every pipe, every valve, every cylinder would become part of a vast mechanical network designed to channel and balance the chaotic energies of the Nexus. "The aliens are moving to intercept," Park warned. "They're trying to create some kind of quantum barrier." "Too late," Sarah announced, throwing the final lever. "We're already part of the system." The Archimedes engine roared as it took on its new role. Steam hissed through reconfigured pipes, each release of pressure corresponding to a fluctuation in local reality. The ship became a mechanical computer of sorts, using simple thermodynamic principles to impose order on chaos. The aliens' transmitted thoughts became increasingly agitated. "Impossible. Primitive technology cannot interact with reality matrix. Quantum manipulation required." But Sarah understood something they didn't. The universe didn't run on quantum calculations. Those were just human and alien attempts to describe underlying principles that were far simpler and more fundamental. Heat always flowed from hot to cold. Pressure always sought equilibrium. These weren't just laws. They were the foundation reality was built on. The Nexus pulsed, its geometric impossibilities beginning to smooth out as the Archimedes steam system channeled and redistributed its energy. In engineering, Sarah knew, the simplest solution was often the best. While the aliens had tried to reprogram reality itself, humanity had built machines that worked with it, that understood it at its most basic level. "Energy patterns stabilizing," Park reported, wonder in his voice. "The Nexus. It's responding to our presence, like it recognizes something in our technology." Sarah smiled as she watched her gauges slowly return to normal readings. The aliens had created something too complex, too disconnected from the fundamental forces that govern the universe. But humans, with their centuries of working with steam and steel, remembered what they have forgotten: that sometimes the most powerful solutions were also the simplest. The reality Nexus awaited them, its mysteries still to be unraveled, but they would face it not with quantum computers or reality warping technology, but with steam power and human understanding. Sometimes, Sarah reflected, the best way to solve an impossible problem was to remember the basic principles that made everything possible in the first place. The reality nexus pulsed with newfound rhythm, its chaotic energies now flowing through the Archimedes steam system in controlled bursts. Sarah watched as physics itself seemed to stabilize around them, the impossible geometries resolving into something more orderly. Not rigid, but balanced, like a perfectly tuned engine. "Report from Earth," Park announced, his voice thick with relief. "Quantum systems are coming back online. Whatever we're doing, it's working." The alien ships hung motionless in space, their transmitted thoughts now carrying a different tone. "Unexpected solution. DETKTED. Primitive methods achieving matrix stability. Recalculating assumptions." Sarah smiled as she adjusted the final pressure regulators. "They still don't understand. They see technology as a way to impose their will on reality. We learned to work with it instead." The Nexus had been an attempt to transcend the basic laws of physics, to rewrite reality itself. But in doing so, the aliens have forgotten that those laws existed for a reason. The universe had its own way of seeking balance, and sometimes the best technology was the kind that helped it do so. "Chief," Rodriguez called from the bridge, "we're getting new readings from the Nexus. It's changing." Through the viewport, Sarah watched as the swirling chaos of distorted spacetime began to take on a more organic pattern. Like water finding its level or heat dispersing through a system, reality was naturally moving toward equilibrium. The Archimedes steam engine wasn't just surviving the physics distortions anymore, it was helping to guide them into a stable state. Primitive vessel, HA's ALTERED reality matrix, the alien transmission observed. "Mechanical principles shijoguang. Unan expected harmonisc resonancy with kifunend MENTL4Cs. "Of course they are," Sarah muttered. "That's what we've been trying to tell you. You can't just rewrite the rules of the universe. You have to understand why they exist in the first place." The ship shuddered as another wave of energy passed through it, but this time it felt different, not chaotic, but purposeful. The aliens were learning, adapting their quantum technology to work with the natural flows and patterns they'd previously tried to override. "They're requesting to send a representative aboard," Park reported, surprise evident in his voice. Rodriguez looked to Sarah, who nodded. "Let them come. I think it's time for both sides to learn from each other." The alien that materialized on the bridge was nothing like they expected. Instead of the reality-warping form of their ships, it appeared as a simple geometric shape, a perfect dodecahedron that somehow managed to convey curiosity through its subtle movements. "Your species, LND is something we had forgot in," it communicated. "Basic principles, KNOTB or ANCENDD, only understood and URKEDWIT. We believe QUANTM mastery made US superior. We work do our own." "Okay." Sarah gestured to the brass gauges and steel pipes around them. "Everything you can do with quantum manipulation, every advanced technology you've created, it all builds on these fundamental forces. We kept our steam engines running not because we couldn't build anything better, but because they helped us remember where we came from, what we learned along the way." The alien's form shifted slightly, acknowledging her words. "We propose exchange of NOWLEG. Your understanding of basic principles, our mastery of QUANTM mechanics. Together, new possibilities emerge." Over the next few hours, as Earth's systems returned to normal, humans and aliens began a different kind of engineering project. The reality nexus, once a source of chaos, was transformed into a controlled experiment in combining quantum technology with classical mechanics. The aliens learned to appreciate the elegance of simple machines, while humanity gained new insights into the quantum realm. 6 months later, Sarah stood in the Archimedes engine room, admiring the modifications they'd made. The steam engine still formed the heart of the ship, but now it worked in harmony with quantum systems, not replacing the old technology, but enhancing it, using advanced principles to make simple mechanisms even more effective. "Ready for test run, Chief?" Rodriguez asked from the doorway. Sarah patted the brass pressure gauge that had served them so faithfully. "Always ready, Captain. Let's show the universe what happens when you remember your roots while reaching for the stars." The Archimedes engine roared to life, steam and quantum fields working together in perfect balance. As they moved through space, they passed other ships being retrofitted with similar hybrid systems, the start of a new age where humanity's journey to the stars would be powered not just by advanced technology, but by a deep understanding of the principles that made it all possible. The aliens had sought to transcend the laws of physics, only to learn that true advancement came not from breaking the rules, but from understanding them so well that you could see possibilities others had missed. And humanity, with its primitive steam engines and mechanical wisdom, had reminded the galaxy of something important. Sometimes the best way forward is to remember where you came from. Sarah smiled as she made her final adjustments for the day. The universe was full of wonders waiting to be discovered, and now they would explore it with both the wisdom of the past and the promise of the future, one steam-powered quantum leap at a time.